Kalwinski.
Here.
Torres. Here. Higgs. Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakels. Here. Markovich.
Here, let the records show 8 present, 1 absent. Reading of the minutes, Councilman Spitali.
President, accept the minutes from October 7, 2019, be placed on file, please.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson, that the minutes be placed on file. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Approval of claims, Councilman Warple.
Mr. President, I make a motion we accept the claims as submitted from October 2nd, 2019 to October 16, 2019. And beginning with claims dated October 4th, 2019, and ending with claims dated October 16, 2019. Claim number 5670 through claim number 5873 inclusive, in the amount of $2,957,986.13.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Rakos. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Warple.
I'd also like to add claim number 5874 for $100 to Hass. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilwoman Vines. Claim number 5874 for $100. Any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? Roll call.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes. On the amendment, 8 in favor, 1 absent. Now the claims as amended. City Clerk Golick.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes. Claims approved, 8 in favor, 1 absent. Public hearings, we have none. Communications.
Mr. President,
Councilman Warple.
today I received an email from a gentleman that I believe the mayor's office was attached to, and it concerns a wire hanging off of a telephone pole at 1420 173rd Street, and the wire basically is down real low. I went and took pictures of it, and it's not a NIPSCO wire. It actually is a cable service company wire or whatever, but I went over to Xfinity and talked to their manager, and he was going to check to see if the wire belonged to Comcast, but since that conversation, I had talked with the city engineer, Dean Button, and he said that there's a company, I guess, or someone he can deal with that will locate who that wire belongs to, and we'll get the problem corrected. But that wire has been hanging for a little bit. A lot of the issue was when all the dead trees were along 173rd, those wires were hidden in the trees. And since the trees have been taken out, that wire is sagging way down. But I just wanted to make the person that sent the email aware that we are on top of it and we'll get it resolved.
Yeah, Mr. President, it's totally unacceptable situation. It's literally 6 feet, if not a little bit lower off the ground. You could easily touch it when you're walking. I don't think it's a power wire. It's definitely not. It's one of the lower wires. But who put the stilts up over there? Was that the city?
That was
or
actually the homeowner that did that because he's got
Yeah.
a van, I believe, that
Yeah.
he was afraid it would touch his
Right.
roof, how low it
Yeah,
is.
they would literally tear it out when he's backing out of his driveway. It's
Yeah.
an unacceptable situation. I'm glad you brought that up.
But
In fact, I think city attorney should, I'll make sure the city engineer and the city attorney and corporate counsel send a letter off to whoever's responsible. It has to be fixed immediately. It's just a dangerous situation. I agree, Councilman. I see it every day when I'm taking my kid to school.
thank you.
Any other communications? Any other communications? Communications closed. Committee reports.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
yes, I'd like to announce the upcoming Community and Crime Watch meetings. On Wednesday, November 6th, Edison Community Watch will meet at 6:30 p.m. at Edison School. On Friday, November 8th, Edison Community Watch on the Road will meet 1 p.m. At the Golden Manor Senior Apartment Building on the corner of 175th and Columbia. Harrison Park Crime Watch is normally scheduled the first Tuesday of each month. That happens to be Election Day. I don't know when the director, who happens to be Barry Tyler, is going to reschedule that. So please watch Facebook for that announcement. Coming up on Friday, November 1st, Irving Community Watch will meet at 9:15 a.m. at Irving School. The Pulaski Park Neighborhood Association will meet Tuesday, October 29th at the American Legion on Goslin. On Thursday, October 24th, the South Homan Neighborhood Watch, which used to be the Indy Illy Crime Watch, will be meeting at 6:30 p.m. at Trinity Lutheran Church on the corner of 173rd and Homan. And on Thursday, November 14th, the Whiting Robertsdale Crime Watch will meet at Calumet College beginning at 6:30 p.m. I always say this is an excellent opportunity to find out what's going on in your neighborhood. Please attend a community meeting or a Crime Watch meeting, and you would be surprised the amount of information that you'll get, because community is not just about me, it's about us. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
Council as a whole will be bringing out 1920, which is the 2020 City of Hammond budget. Also 1921, which is the 2020 Hammond redevelopment budget. 1922, which is the 2020 budget proposal for the Sanitary District of Hammond, Sewer Maintenance Fund number 608, and Special Sanitary Debt Fund number 309. 1923 is an ordinance fixing the salaries and wages of all city officials and employees of the City of Hammond, other than those fixed by statute or by ordinance. 1924 is an ordinance fixing the salaries and wages of police and fire. And I do believe that is all that council as a whole is bringing out this evening, Mr. President.
Any other committee reports? Any other committee reports? Closed. Ordinances for third and final passage. City Clerk Golick.
Ordinance 19-20, the City of Hammond 2020 budget proposal, sponsored by Mayor McDermott.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
I move for final passage of 1920.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Vines, second by Councilman Warple for final passage and adoption of 1920. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Galwinski.
No.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes, 7 in favor, 1 against, and 1 absent.
Ordinance 19-21, the 2020 budget proposal for the Hammond Redevelopment Commission, sponsored by Councilman Spitali and Councilwoman Vines.
President,
Councilman Spitali.
for final passage of 1921.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Evertson for final passage and adoption of 19-21. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Galwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Ordinance 19-22, the 2020 budget proposal for the Sanitary District of Hammond, the Sewer Maintenance Fund 608, also 8201, a Special Sanitary Debt Service Fund 309, also known as 8280, sponsored by Councilwoman Venez and Councilman Warple and Spitali.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for final passage of 1922.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Spitali. For final passage and adoption, 19-22. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Ordinance 19-23, and ordinance fixing the salaries and wages of all city officials and employees of the city of Hammond, Indiana, other than those fixed by statute or by ordinance, heretofore enacted, and fixing the effective date thereof.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for final passage of 1923.
Second.
You know what, is there any sponsors for that one?
It's not required,
Pardon me?
not required on the salary.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by
Me.
Councilman Warple. Okay. Any discussion on 1923? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
Ordinance 19-24, an ordinance fixing the salaries and wages of all policemen and firemen of the city of Hammond, Indiana, other than those fixed by statute or by ordinance, heretofore enacted, and fixing the effective date thereof.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
final passage of 1924.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by
Second.
Councilman Emerson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Markovich, that concludes the reading of the ordinances for final passage.
For anybody that's new to the council, we have a public expression, and there's a sign-in sheet there. If you wish to talk at the council, you have 3 minutes. You can sign your name and so forth and all of that.
Mr. President,
Mayor McDermott.
I want to say thank you to council. We worked hard on this budget for a very long time. We were meeting over the summer. I want to thank Heather and her staff for working hard on this budget. A lot of work goes into it, and I know it was real quick on the vote tonight, but I want to assure the residents, and as we all know, we've been talking about this for months, so I think it was a good budget. We got through the tax caps unscathed. We still have a lot of money left over for infrastructure work in each council district and citywide, so thank you very much to the Hammond City Council on the passage of another budget. And again, to Heather and your staff who worked ridiculous hours to get this ready, all at the same time we were getting audited from the State Board of Accounts. I want to say thanks. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Warfel.
I want to thank the administration, Heather, the mayor, and all that, because when I read this stuff and people say that everything's hidden or whatever, this and that, nothing was hidden. The mayor had several conversations with us. Heather, I think I met in your office with you over the budget 3 or 4 times. And it was all right there out in the open. It's all there out in the open now. And I just want to thank you for how hard you and how well informed you kept at least the people I went to the meetings with. Thank you.
I've met with every council person in my office. I know not everyone was at the same meeting, But I met with every person on the Hammond City Council about the plan the administration came up with. I want to thank you all for supporting that plan. And I want to remind you, we're all high-fiving because we just completed the budget, but there are people losing their jobs at the end of the year in the court's office, and I believe maybe a couple in the clerk's office. But there are people, I want to remind everybody that if you're losing your job at the end of the year, and I know a lot of city employees are watching right now, put in for the open jobs, and we're doing our best to relocate employees. You know, I've done a pretty good job, but we're still working real hard to relocate all the employees that are losing their jobs. So I just wanted to say thank you. And our work's not done yet. You know, there's Hammond residents that are slated to lose their jobs. So I'm going to do what I can over the next couple months to try to get everybody, you know, relocated to another department if it's possible. So thank you.
Introductions of ordinances, we have none. Resolutions, Clerk Golick.
Item A, Resolution 19R-30, sponsored by Councilman Emerson. A resolution confirming the appointment of Lori Zolano as a Commissioner of the Hammond Historic Preservation Commission, the City of Hammond, Indiana.
Mr. President,
It's Councilman Emerson.
I move for final passage of Resolution 19R-30.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Emerson, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of Resolution 19R-30. Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Mayor McDermott.
I want to thank Lori for being a member of the public that is very active and participates in Little Cow River Basin Authority, participates in city council meetings. Every 2 weeks we see her in the audience, and she's here again today, for being a great Hammond resident and also being interested to serve in this commission that does not get a lot of interest. So I appreciate her stepping up and putting her resume forward, and I strongly support her, and I hope that you do too. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, Lori's here also. So.
Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
I would agree with the mayor, and I would like to add that when I first attended the Little Calumet River Basin Commission meetings, Lori would be there almost at every meeting and as well as at the council meetings, and she would have two huge binders that were like the size of Chicago phone books. And my point in bringing that up is that kind of dedication is what we look for. And Hammond has a rich history, as you know, Mr. President, back to the meatpacking days and even before that, and I'm sure she'll be an asset to the committee.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call?
Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Markovich.
Yes, 8 in favor, 1 absent.
President Markovich, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Item 11, new and unfinished business.
Mr. President,
Councilman Warren.
I'm going to make a motion that the two meetings in November be rescheduled. The meeting of November 11th be rescheduled to November 4th due to Veterans Day. And the meeting of November 25th to the 18th due to the week of Thanksgiving.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Torres. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Vines.
I'd like to make a motion, given Mayor McDermott's comments recently, or just a few moments ago, about people within the city, particularly the court, who will be losing their jobs at the end of the year. We have a position open in our city council office for a secretary, and I would like to reopen the application process so those employees who are going to lose their job at the end of the year will have an additional opportunity to submit an application for that position.
Any other new and unfinished business?
That's in the form of a motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Vines. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Spitali. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Vines.
Thank you for that enthusiasm. I recall when we voted to close the court that we pledged to the employees of the court that we would give them an opportunity to fill any position that became open in the city of Hammond. This has been such an arduous process. We did receive some applications, and the people do happen to live in Hammond, but I feel strongly that we need to give our city employees, those who have spent a lot of time here at City Hall, those who have dedicated their employment to the city of Hammond, and those who are active with the city of Hammond. I feel strongly that we need to offer them the opportunity again. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
What's the motion?
Any other discussion?
Mr. President, what's the motion?
That we open up the application process one more time for those who are losing their jobs with the court.
That's a personnel issue, so I wouldn't like to discuss it. I talked to several council persons that they don't want to discuss this on the floor.
Point of order.
State your point of order.
You are not to engage in discussion. And as far as this being a personnel matter, we are not speaking about any one individual in particular. This is generalities. If you want to talk personalities, then I absolutely agree with you, but we are not discussing personalities. We are discussing opening up the job for those who are soon to lose their job.
Well, I'm not going to talk about debate, but I'm going to tell you what the process was. We hired somebody back over a year ago that was in there for 8 months, and all they did was answer their phone, didn't learn anything. So we had a secretary that became ill, and we had to go ahead and fill that position. In the meantime, we did have somebody that was training in here and so forth, and was working with the school city, and was offered a full-time job with the school city. We went through the bid process, which we do not have to because the mayor, judge, and clerk's office, whenever they fill positions, they don't go through the bid process. Whatever reason they do, however they fill in positions, it's beyond me. So we did open up the bid process, and we took applications from city employees, which was for 2 weeks, and then Sharon Daniels opened it up on the website for people on the outside. About 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we received about 40 applications. And the specifics were you had to fill out a job application and submit a resume. You would be surprised how many people can't follow instructions, okay? You see ads in the paper. If you want to apply for a job, well, take, for instance, the fire department.
Point of order.
I just,
Step down. I'll step down.
Please
I'll take
do.
the floor, take the thing.
that's all I'm saying. If you're going to debate it,
I'm just giving information.
I call for the vote.
I'll step down.
Called for the vote.
If you want to try and silence me, it's not going to happen. I'm just telling you what had happened as far as fair and square and not how the other one was hired prior to.
Clerk Golick, there's been a call for the vote.
No, I'm not done for discussion.
There's been a call for the vote.
Robert's Rules of Order does not allow.
Spitali.
Yes?
Vines,
Yes.
Kalwinski.
No.
Torres,
Yes.
Higgs, Emerson,
Yes.
Warple,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Markovich.
No.
Motion passes 6 in, yeah, 6 in favor,
Two again.
two against, 1 absent. I'm sorry.
That's just the motion to take the vote?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Now the motion itself? Is that what you're saying?
That's the only motion there was.
You made a motion so that
I
you would
called for
take
the
the
vote.
vote, right?
Yes.
So we need a vote on the motion itself, I think.
Thought there was a call for the vote.
Your motion, not the motion to take the vote.
The call for the question.
Right, so that passed.
Okay, so now what are you saying?
You should have a vote on your motion to reopen the
Okay.
application.
Okay.
The vote on the motion?
What's the motion? We did that.
To reopen,
Thought we called for the vote and took the vote on the motion.
I don't know, the motion was to open up the application one more time to hire a council secretary, and then the question was called for, and then the vote was taken. I don't see where there's another motion needed.
well, I thought you interpreted the call for the question as a motion for the.
No discussion was allowed,
Right.
so that's still out there.
Anyway, I just wanted the record to be clear that you're voting on the substantive motion, just not the procedural one to take a vote. And I think we've been through this a few months ago where
Okay, so are we done with this? or
I
no?
think you should take a vote on the motion to reopen the application.
Okay.
That was already on the floor.
It's on the floor, and a motion to call for the vote.
And it was voted on, Counselor.
Well, I mean, that's okay if that's your interpretation, but I thought it was different.
But they didn't allow discussion on it. All they did was have a call for the vote, so you took the vote. But you
Mr.
didn't allow
President.
discussion.
There was a motion made to call for the vote was taken. So the motion passed 6 in favor, 2 opposed, 1 absent.
Stop debate.
To stop debate.
You vote on the main motion.
Now we vote on the motion.
Discussion.
No, there's no discussion.
No,
There's no discussion.
It's over.
The previous question passed, so that you just take the substantive motion, I think. I thought I was clearing things up, but I guess I just
Clear as mud.
more complicated.
So Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez?
are we still under new and unfinished business?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We're being advised by our attorney here that we have to take another vote, right?
Pardon?
We're being advised by our attorney here that we have to take a vote on the actual motion itself now, right?
I don't know. Attorney Berger?
Why don't you just take the vote and get it over with?
Okay, I thought that's what we did. Okay. Okay.
We're still on new and finished business?
Clerk Goller, can we take a roll call vote on the motion?
Point of order. What are we voting on?
The motion
And that is?
To
to reopen. For what did you say, Janet?
reopen the application process to give our city employees who are going to lose their job an opportunity to apply for the council secretary position.
Is there a second?
Yeah,
That was Dan, right?
yeah, Councilman Spitali seconded it.
Reaffirm that, please. Point of order, is a motion on the floor.
There's
Is
a
there
motion
second?
on the floor to call for the vote to reopen the process. Councilman Markovich would like you to say you seconded it again.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Roll call.
Oh, you got to call for discussion.
No.
No discussion.
Call for the vote, but you still, reopen it to reopen it, the position, so now there's discussion to reopen the position.
No,
Mr. President, I thought there was already discussion.
I don't think so, because I was not allowed to talk. That's why I came down and stepped down.
well, my interpretation was that when the call for the vote passed, that cuts off discussion.
Just ask for the roll call.
Roll call, please.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Here we go.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
so we're not going to discuss anything, is that correct?
The call for the vote cut off discussion. Our attorney is advising us that we approved the call for the vote. Now, he's saying we need a roll call on the motion. It's been motioned by Councilwoman Venez, seconded by Councilman Spitali. Can we have a roll call vote on that issue, please? Clerk Gola, can we have a roll call vote on that?
Spitali. Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
No.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs. Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Markovich.
No.
Motion passes, 6 in favor, 2 against, 1 absent. Is there any other new and unfinished business?
Mr.
There any-
Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
we have a process here in the city of Hammond how to bid on jobs. And one of the things is that when there's an opening, they have what they call a bid process. Now, that bid process was opened up for 2 weeks, and we took applications from city workers. Then Sharon Daniels opened it up to the outside, put it on a website, and then we took additional applications. And one of the requirements was that you had to fill out a job application and a resume. Now, in the past, city workers, they just put in a bid, and we don't know anything about them, what their background is, education, or anything. So that's why it was brought up that you had to fill out a job application. And we went back through this about 9 or 10 months ago when we had an opening. Our secretary became ill. We had an opening there, and we had to go ahead and fill that position, and we've been trying to go ahead and get a second secretary in there. And during that time, we had a deadline for 2 weeks for in-house employees, and then went to the outside. Sharon Daniels dropped off about 40 to 50 applications. We had our secretary, our administrative assistant, go ahead and look through all the applications to see who is really qualified for this, if they are or not. And so she went through that, spent about 8 hours going through all of this, and people just applied just to be applying. They had no experience or anything whatsoever. So we were down to 5 people, okay? And she called them up, and 2 of them already accepted other employment, so you're down to 2 or 3. She called them up and did a phone interview, which a lot of things that is being done now in industry. You apply for a job on LinkedIn or whatever on the internet, and they give you a phone call. And if they're interested, they'll call you in. So she did a phone call. She interviewed people, and then went ahead, and what I did is last week I came in and looked at all the applications also. And we told them that I made copies. We had Susan make copies of the 2 people that applied. And this is after the deadlines. After the deadline already, and we've been doing this for 2 months now. That to give copies to everybody, put it in their packet, and was down to 2 people. And then the suggestion was made, because Susan, our secretary, is going out of town for a week and a half, leaving Thursday, and we needed somebody in here. So, to help out, she's here for Tuesday and Wednesday, leaving Thursday, and then from 10:30 to whatever, we're going to have a custodian come in and answer the phones for the next week and a half, a custodian to answer the phones. My suggestion was, we were down to 2 people. A suggestion was made that through our administrative assistant, who she would like to come in here and work in the office. And what we would have done is go ahead and have her come in tomorrow and sit with our administrative assistant, come in Tuesday and Wednesday, and then leave, and then we'd have the girl come in at 10:30 for the next week and a half and answer phones, and then when our secretary or our administrative assistant would come back, she'd bring in this lady and sit down and start the process of not the process, but have her fill the position, which would be a 90-day probationary period. Now we want to open it up, and after we've spent all this time and went through qualifications, it sounds like, and it probably is true, that they want to open it up again because somebody's got a special person they want to apply, and they're going to make sure that person gets that position. Now, we have to wait on that person to decide January 1st. I'm available January 1st, but in the meantime, the city council office has nobody in there to do the work. And God forbid that something should happen to our administrative assistant where nobody in there is qualified. And talking to Sharon Daniels, we don't even have college-bound people to come in there and, put in their hours that they can do and so forth. And that's where it is. We spent more time. I've got all the councilmen involved and, talked to them. This is what we need. I'm leaving. I'm not going to be here January 1st. But I wanted them to have the best person and try and go ahead and get this done so that they have somebody that can do the job. But it sounds like politics is being played, and whether the most qualified person is going to get the position or not, it's going to be out of my hands. It's evident by the vote. You talk to people, you talk to them, you talk to other councilmen, you have their word, and all of a sudden the word changes. Politics is involved, and that's what it is. And that's what it's been for the last 32 years that I've been councilman, and no matter what you do or what's right and wrong, if you got 5 votes, that's what's going to happen.
Mr. President.
Common sense doesn't make anything, as far as what's going to be the best for the people, for the taxpayers, and so forth and that. And
Mr. President.
That's what's going on. And I won't get into specifics, but I'm sure, it's going to come out now who is being planned or who are special dispensations being made for certain people. We went through this process for administrative secretary that Janet Vanez wanted to hire somebody from Highland. Somebody from Highland to take a Hammond job, And I brought up the hiring ordinance, which was endorsed by Mayor McDermott, and he signed it. And because she was not a Hammond person, that's why she didn't get it. Also, that person's losing her job. She did not apply for any other positions in the city because she can't. She doesn't live in Hammond. So that's where that at. And Councilwoman Vanez wanted to go ahead and hire somebody that didn't live in Hammond. Now, after spending all that time and effort, with our administrative assistant and looking through Sharon Daniels, going ahead and doing this for the last 2 months, now we're changing it again. We're going to go ahead and reopen it just for one individual special person. And it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen, in the next 2 weeks. But we got to wait. The taxpayers got to wait till January 1st. If this person was so interested in his position, you don't care about the judge. The judge doesn't care about you. The office is being closed. If you want this position, you apply right now. Right now, you come and apply. Put it in your application. But that person didn't apply during the 2-week time period, didn't apply during the other, and all of a sudden, there's an application. I haven't even seen the application. The councilmen haven't seen the application. But there's somebody special out there that they want to get this position, and that's what's going on. It's out of my control. It's out of my hands. And it comes down to politics. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and whether the best person's going to get that position or not, God only knows.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman Vanez.
I don't want to beleaguer the point here. The fact of the matter is, we, as a city council, made a commitment to those employees who were going to lose their job. In the clerk's office, there was possibility, and I'll get to that one in just one moment, and the judge's office. Now, back when I was president, I tried to get somebody in here who was very qualified, a city employee for 25 years, worked in the clerk's office. Her husband has given his, has worked as a police officer in the city of Hammond to serve and protect the city of Hammond. Because the police officers can live outside of the city of Hammond. That couple chose to move to Highland. But oh no, their 25 years of service to the city wasn't good enough, and she was very, very qualified for the job. And how dare Councilman Markovich sit here and say that politics is being played? You're the one who's played politics for 32 years, Councilman Markovich, and I resent that implication. I have had it. We have 3 more meetings until the beginning of the year. We've gone the entire time that you've been president without a second person in the office. So what's another 2 more months? It makes no difference. You've been farting around for this entire year, not hiring anybody. And now you're going to accuse somebody of playing politics? I'm done with it. I'm just done with it. We've got 3 more meetings of this nonsense. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Markovich.
Wow. Politics, huh? Been farting around, I guess, huh? You know, let's talk about politics. Janet Vanez's husband had a job for 10 years in redevelopment. Paid $30,000 a year for 10 years. Didn't have a job description.
Mr. President,
God only knows.
This is not personal. Don't you bring, you said before you didn't want to discuss personnel issues, and now you're bringing my husband into this? No.
You brought it up.
No. Don't you even do that, Councilman Markovich.
So anyway, there was a position in redevelopment.
Councilman Markovich.
Well, I'm just going over a budget
I'm
position
just-
here. So there was a position in
There's no
redevelopment
budget position that's in there.
that was go ahead and, a certain person was in that position. So after 10 years, they retired. And then we went ahead and on the outside, we came up with $1,000 a year for longevity for a pension. So they took the pension for $10,000 and then didn't work anymore. And then all of a sudden, that position was never filled again. So that leads me to believe politics was involved just to create a position for certain individuals or whatever. And then that's what happened. But that's here nor there. Again, we can go ahead and talk about 25 years or this or that. If you want a job here in Hammond, live here in the city of Hammond. That's what the bottom line is. That's what it boils down to. We've got an election. We supposedly have an election with no opposition, but I'm sure that the hiring ordinance probably would have been an issue, and people would be voting different ways. And it'd be interesting to see who supposedly is going to apply now. After we spent 2 months. I wasn't farting around for 2 months. I did it systematically. Took the applications, did all of that, brought it to everybody's attention. And you know what? There was other positions here in the city that they could have bid on, but nobody bid on those positions. Why not? Were they just waiting for a certain thing and to play the politics? And I can concur with the mayor. Yeah, we want to hire people that are losing their job, but you know what? I never saw any jobs posted for the mayor, judge, or clerk's office when there's an opening there. All of a sudden, people appear. That's why I asked during the budget workshop here, and I was interrupted. I says, I want to know the names to these positions. All these people get hired in these positions, and you never even see the bid process on it. Well, how in the hell do they get hired in these positions? Again, I'm leaving, so I really have nothing to say about it.
Mr. President.
Or anything in that respect. So,
I don't appreciate being dragged into this mud fight. Every job that's open, I know the clerk does it the same way, as the judge does it the same way, as the mayor does it. For every single job that's open, we follow procedure. For every single job, okay? I don't appreciate any insinuation that we do otherwise. If it's in my office, if it's in the sanitary district, if it's in the Port Authority, we go through the same mechanism, even with the utilities, every single time. Absolutely true. Not one employee hasn't gone through that process. Not one, Bob. A. B, you just passed a $65 million budget. We did it in about 3 minutes. And you're talking about one damn employee for an hour. Why don't you guys get your stuff straight and come back and do it 2 weeks from now? Seriously, this is embarrassing.
Mayor, you're
This is
absolutely.
embarrassing, Councilman. This is embarrassing.
Chairman.
You're talking about one job. One job. We have 900 employees working for our city. You're talking about one job, and you're blowing this whole meeting up over one lousy job.
Mr. Chairman,
You don't have your votes. You don't have your stuff straight.
I
Then
understand.
why don't we come back and do this, not on the record?
Mr.
The
Chairman,
reporters are having a field day with you
Mr.
guys.
Chairman,
You're giving them material for the next 2
Mr.
weeks.
Chairman,
Well, this says it.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I was asked not to bring it out on the council floor, and I assured several councilmen it would not be brought out on the council floor. It was brought out on the council floor, so that's where we're at. Mayor, I agree with you, 100%. That was a personnel issue, and when I try to say it was a personnel issue, I was outvoted. So there's where it's at. It was brought out on the council floor. So now you got it, now you see it, and you see what's going on.
Okay, is any more new and unfinished business?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
thank you. And I appreciate the mayor's stand and his 100% of doing the process like it's supposed to be done. And we did it too. And now we're redoing it. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Any more new and unfinished business? Any more new and unfinished business? Any more new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is closed. He brought up about public expression. I've only got one name on the sheet. Does anybody else wish to sign the sheet? You can just go ahead and go up.
How's it going tonight? I just wanted to bring up, I'm hearing somebody's just to replace somebody
You
that
just
couldn't
state
make
your
it.
name and where you're from.
Okay. You might be familiar with maybe the Wilborn case. It's about 2 years ago, there was a person that, alleged multiple rapes, ended up with murder. There's still quite a few families of the victims that live in the city. And so the kid's gonna be rebonded. The 17-year-old that was moved up into the adult case, so now he gets to rebond. The lawyer has come out and said that he's gonna push for no bond and try and get him out. And there's a lot of concern with some parents, and I guess maybe I was asking if we could get a letter, maybe from the council. And I ask because the judge that this is going before has some pretty questionable decisions with, letting people out, things like that. It's Judge Boswell. But I ask if maybe you could get a letter together as a council to the judge, just expressing that there is some major concern if this person was let out, especially like with no bond. I know you guys can't express, but, can I get a head shake maybe? Does it sound like a good idea, Dave? Is it something we
You could
could
just send me an email exactly what you're...
Okay,
Yeah.
I could put you in contact. I've been in contact with some people about it, so I could let you know. There is actually now, as long as I'm here, some of you know me, there is...
No, excuse me, sir. Do you have a name?
Oh.
You never gave your name and so forth.
Eric Meyer, my address is 1513 Indianapolis Boulevard. So I am a Hammond resident. Some of these people know me, so. My main concern is, you guys got the budget done. Okay, it's done and over with. My main concern is our schools. Our schools got their own problem. I'm not gonna drag them here, but I do feel like with the TIF, you guys learned about the TIF now. You could open those up, 15% can go towards schooling. Maybe what I'd like to see possibly in the future, maybe work together. If we're gonna get new TIF districts, things like that, they do harm the schools. Our schools are having some funding problems. Not necessarily, it's a mixture of a lot of things. But if we could push maybe in the future, if we could make sure our schools aren't harmed, because they need the money. And, everyone wants to build the community here. Schools are the biggest driver. They really are. They're the number one things that are gonna bring people in, number one things that are gonna keep people here. maybe we could get a resolution or something together, just so we don't harm our schools with, TIF districts. That's all. Thank you, guys.
George Stoyer?
George Stoyer, Robertsdale. Excuse me. I very thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. I disagree somewhat with the mayor, somewhat, not totally, about it being embarrassing, but we never get to hear about stuff like this, and therefore we can never get an idea of how you councilmen are thinking and how our government is working and some of the perspectives. I don't know the politics of the situation, nor really the merits, but it sounded like both sides had some merit, and there may, I don't know about the, I don't know if an exception can be made or any of that stuff for, given the residential factor. But what I didn't like and I didn't appreciate was this council suppressing Mr. Markovich, for good or ill, the discussion of this matter. And I don't know what's going on here sometimes. It's like nobody wants to let the citizens know what the hell's going on. And granted, this isn't the biggest issue of all. I mean, the mayor's right on that. But the point is, what it does disclose is how you guys are thinking. And, there might be politics. Big surprise there, huh? And, but there's also merit that has to be considered. And so these discussions do have informational value. Most certainly they have value as perspective. And that's what we, the citizens, need in order to evaluate your performance as our representatives. So we can determine, come election time, how well you're doing. So we can get, as you say, the best people up here. Thank you.
There's nobody else listed. Does anybody?
Motion to adjourn?
Does anybody else wish to speak? Motion to adjourn. Seconded by Councilman Spitali. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is adjourned.